I have the opportunity to introduce the speaker this morning, and I spent 2 weeks trying to figure out how in the world am I going to introduce him in 3 minutes, only to find out this morning that I have a minute and a half. Chris said, you have a minute and a half to introduce me. I was like, okay, I'll figure that out. Yeah, it's ticking. He's just said it's ticking. This young man, I taught him how to write his name when he was 4, his whole name, not just Chris, but Christopher. I taught him how to tie his shoes. I taught him how to shoot a layup. I watched him play countless ball games all over the country. But what he taught me was how to love, and to love with your whole heart, and how to love Jesus with your whole heart. He's been an amazing little brother to Darian, and an awesome, protective big brother to Brianna. I've watched him share his story, and what an amazing story it is of courage and living through adversity. And, you know, parents are supposed to teach their children the life lessons, and I feel like I have taught my children life lessons, but Chris has taught me so many life lessons, but the greatest life lesson that he's taught me is to truly love Jesus. And I've watched him share Jesus and share his heart about his love for the Lord all over the country, and with anyone that he comes in contact with. I'd like for you to join me in welcoming my boy, my baby boy. He's going to kill me for saying that. An amazing man of God, and probably one of the most courageous men I know, Chris Walker.
Had to help her down because she fell down them steps, and we had to laugh at her. But I'm really excited to be here. This is my second time being at Carson-Newman, and it's always a joy to be able to go places and to speak on behalf of the Lord and do things and talk about things that mean a lot to me. I've been working for the Fellowship of Christian Athletes in Chattanooga, Tennessee for about 5 years now, and it's crazy to even think that I'm working for FCA, but FCA was an organization that meant so much to me when I was in college. But like I said, I'm excited to be here. This is going to be something that I hope I don't bore you with, but I can encourage you with a lesson of what it looks like to be courageous. And what it looks like to have courage in tough and difficult situations. So join me praying real quick. Jesus, you are so good. We thank you for the opportunity that we get to breathe. We thank you for the opportunity that we get to live. We thank you for the opportunity that we get to try to be like you. Father, I thank you for this place, this institution, where they want to teach people and encourage people to love you with their whole heart. God, I pray as we get into your word, I pray that you would speak to someone. I pray that the words that are spoken would have an impact. Although the words may be brief, may they be impactful. I pray, Spirit, that you be here with us. I pray that you use me as your vessel, God, and remove me from myself so that you may get the glory, the honor, and the praise. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. So as I was preparing for this time that I get to come and be with you, my mom told me, she was like, hey man, you're going to have the whole freshman class in there with you when you speak. I'm like, okay, great, that's fun. But I'm excited because I remember my freshman year of college. And I remember how tough it was for me. And I wasn't a sheltered kid at all. My mom did a very good job of raising me, my brother and sister, but I wasn't a sheltered kid. But if it wasn't about football or basketball or school, I really didn't get involved in it. So when I came to college as a freshman at the University of Tennessee, Tennessee has 28,000 people on campus. I came from a school where I graduated with 190. So when I got to campus at the University of Tennessee, one of the biggest schools in the country, an SEC school, big-time football player, when I got to Tennessee, I was kind of shocked at what I saw. There were a lot of things that vied for my attention that I could have given my attention to that I had never seen before. Saw a lot of movies that portrayed what college was like, but I never would have thought that that's what college would have actually been like. And there were a lot of situations that I got put in where I had an opportunity to show what type of person that I was. And as freshmen in college, and other years in college, you have opportunities that will come up that you actually get to show what type of person that you are. This week, y'all are talking about courage and goodness. That's what you're talking about. And as I thought about courage and goodness, obviously my first mind goes to Jesus. But as I was digging deeper and I asked the Lord, give me another picture of courage, I think about his disciples. And the reason why I think about his disciples was his disciples were guys that came from different lives that dropped everything that they had. When Jesus said, follow me, they dropped everything that they had and they followed him. I want to give you the definition of courage real quick. The definition of courage, it says the ability to do something that frightens one, strength in the face of pain or grief. Let me say that again. The ability to do something that frightens one, strength in the face of pain or grief. So when I think about these disciples, I think about the risk that they were taking. I think about what they were doing. Fishermen. That Jesus came to them and he said, follow me, drop everything you're doing, follow me and I'll make you fishers of men. And these dudes are like, what are you talking about, bro? I don't understand what you're talking about, making me fishers of men. But something in them decided to say, hey, I'm going to drop everything that I'm doing. I'm going to leave my family. I'm going to leave what I know and what I'm comfortable in doing. And I'm going to follow this guy named Jesus. They were claiming Jesus to be the Christ, the Messiah, the anointed one. And at that time, that was a very, very, very controversial thing. Because there was a lot of things in the Old Testament that referred to the Messiah that was coming. And when Jesus came and people were saying that this was going to be him, John the Baptist was saying, this is the guy. This is who we've been reading about. This is who's coming to save us. There were a lot of people that were split on that decision. There were some people that were with it, but then there were a lot of people that were like, that's blasphemy. This is not that dude. This is not him. So for these disciples to leave everything that they knew to go follow the most famous and the most big-time fugitive, but yet celebrity of all time, it took courage. These people were having to walk with Jesus through mobs of people that some loved him and some wanted to kill him. And so when I continue to think about what that looks like, I also think about Martin Luther King Jr. and the civil rights movement. And I can remember looking at pictures of him marching with the people. And I can remember how their lives were in danger. There were a lot of people that did not want equality for those people. There were a lot of people that hated Martin Luther King just simply because he wanted equality. And wherever he went, his life was in danger. Wherever his friends were, their lives were in danger. I watched the movie Selma, and I was completely struck by how these people willingly put themselves in the line of danger, all because they wanted equality. They had courage to do what they did. Then I continue to think back to the disciples. And I think courage, it says the ability to do something that frightens one. Now let's talk real about the disciples. They were all about it when it was all well and good. But then when it came time to actually have Jesus' back, when the authorities came to arrest Jesus, the word says they all deserted him and fled. And you heard me say these people were very courageous because they started to follow Jesus. That's all great. That's all well and good. But courage is not just doing something that frightens you. It's enduring that something that frightens you. That's real courage. At that moment, the disciples did not endure that something that frightened them, which was their life being in danger. They didn't endure that because they didn't count up the cost of, man, if we're going to follow this Jesus dude, this might actually cost me my life. They understood it was going to be difficult, but they didn't understand that they almost could die for this. They've been walking with for 3 years, and they said, that's my dude. I'm going to walk with him. They left him. The courage was gone. But what I loved about the disciples and what I loved about what they did, they finished. Jesus came back after he was crucified, buried, and resurrected. He came back to his disciples, and he appeared to his disciples, and he appeared to many other people, but he came back to his disciples to encourage them. And he said, hey, look, it's all good. I understand. But now I have a job for you. Go to all the nations and make disciples. Go and love people. Go and tell them about me. And what they did showed true courage. They went to the corners of the earth. And they said, this is who Jesus is. With this guy that literally has the ability to change your eternity. And they went and they established the church that we know today. That's courage. To endure, that's something that frightens you. To do something great. It was even more dangerous for them after Jesus left, because you had a guy named Saul that was coming after to kill everybody. And you had people that did not like them even more because they were still talking about a dead guy. But what they did was they continued to push despite the danger that they were in, because they had met the true definition of courage. They had met the true definition of goodness. And they said, this is worth it. And you know what happened to all those 12 disciples? Every one of them died. They died for the name of Christ. They went from people that fled because they were afraid that they would die to people who end up giving their life and showing true courage for something that they truly believed in. And I give this whole background so that I can start talking to you as students. In the world that we live in today, let's just be completely honest. Things are not looking good. Things don't look good for people that call themselves believers of Jesus Christ. And we say now, while it's all easy and comfortable, that we're believers in Jesus, but what will happen when somebody will look at you and they say, do you follow Jesus? And if you say yes, they kill you. What will you do then? There's going to come a point where you're going to have to do something that frightens you, and that doing something may be following Jesus, but that's not real courage. Real courage is enduring that something that frightens you. So real courage will be if they say, hey, are you a Christian? And you say yes. They say, well, we're going to kill you. And you say, here I am. Because I'm going to endure this frightening situation and show true courage and show commitment to the God that saved me. As students, as college students, you all will be faced with a lot of different opportunities to be courageous. What I love about this new initiative that you guys are putting in, the Step Up program, I love it. I watched a video on it, and it's something that needs to be done in colleges now. Simply because there are a lot of things that a lot of people stand around and watch things happen to their peers and never think, oh, I could have done something about that. With this is telling you, hey guys, you can have the courage to step up and actually help someone. Like I said, when I was in college, as a freshman in college at the University of Tennessee, I was really, really shocked by the things that happened. And I was really, really nervous about not fitting in because I didn't do the same things that everybody else did. But what I decided to do was continue to be different. And what that led to an opportunity to be courageous with my teammates and with other people that I knew. I'm going to give you a quick story. I can remember my first couple of weekends of being on campus at the University of Tennessee. And I was with some of my teammates because I don't know what to do in Knoxville, so I was with them. And they were drinking, and they drank a lot. And they wanted to drive 20 minutes from West Knoxville to downtown. So obviously, me being me, I'm not going to let them drive. So I decided to drive these guys down to wherever they were. I also decided to say, hey man, y'all been drinking a little too much. Let's get in the car and let's go back home. Now, the different situation could have been, I could have said, hey man, I'm going to go back to my dorm room. Y'all figure out how to get back to West Knoxville on your own. What that would have led to was them hurting themselves or someone else and maybe losing their life. But I decided to take the initiative. I decided to step up. And I decided to say, hey, man, I'm going to be there for you despite what I want to do, despite what I want to be doing right now. I'm tired. I don't know you really. I just met you last week, so I don't know why I'm dealing with you. But I want to be there for you. And I want to step in a situation that could end up really bad. I got those guys back home, and I turned into the person to be the designated driver for them. If that was what they were going to do, I said, look, man, I'm here to drive for you. I'm going to take care of you. There's some of you that have opportunities like that. I had a friend recently that just got a DUI. And what was the true scary part was that this man was on the road, and his blood alcohol content was 2 times the legal limit. This man got in a car and could have hurt somebody, all because nobody was there to step up and say, hey, man, I'm going to take you home. Hey, I'm going to be there for you. There are a lot of different situations other than drinking. There's a lot of different things where you guys have an opportunity to see something that you don't like and be able to step in and help someone. But not only stepping in shows courage, but to be there for that person, that shows courage. Enduring that thing with them, that shows true courage. For Carson-Newman, I want you guys to be a body of students as freshmen that change the culture here. That say we're going to consider others more significant than ourselves, and we're actually going to care for somebody outside of our little circle and outside of myself. Because you know why? Because if you claim to be a believer of Jesus, that's what he said to do. He said to consider others more significant than yourself, to do this for people, to love people. Even when it hurts to love them, you continue to do that. Because he showed that example time and time again to us about how we're supposed to act towards people, how we're supposed to defend the weaker people that can't defend themselves, how we're supposed to step in for people that don't have a voice, that don't have a choice. That is what we're supposed to do. That is what I continue to do. That is what I want you to do with your lives. That's what the Lord asks of you. Is to say we're going to be people that are different. And that we're actually going to care about people. And we're not going to sit back and watch things happen to people that could change a decision in their life. I'm not going to sit back and watch someone abuse alcohol or drugs and sit there and let that happen. If you let that happen, how could you call yourself a believer of Jesus? You can't. Because that shows that you don't care for anybody but yourself. So be people, Carson-Newman, that step up and that say, hey, we're going to be that type of person. That we're not going to sit idly by and watch people ruin their lives or watch something happen to someone, watch someone be abused. We're actually going to step up and we're actually going to do something about it.